I want to bring in Congressman Andy Levin. He represents Michigan's 9th District. Congressman, welcome. First, what is your reaction to the news today that U.S. Special Envoy to Haiti, Daniel Foote, has resigned, calling the expulsions of Haitian migrants inhumane?
Well, thanks, Tanya. It's good to see you. I mean, first of all, I have to thank Ambassador Foote for his service and his heartfelt commitment to the Haitian people. I've got to respect his decision to resign, but I'm deeply upset by the circumstances that precipitated it. I've been extremely clear for months that I think the administration's Haiti policy is misguided, and I do not think it's fair for Ambassador, or let me say this, I do not think it's unfair for Ambassador Foote to characterize that policy today as inhumane. The Haitian people are crying out for the opportunity to chart their own future, and the U.S. has been ignoring their pleas. I strongly oppose these ongoing mass deportations, but also importantly, and this is what Ambassador Foote was working on, the administration's failure to embrace Haitian civil society's plan for a democratic transition. And I'm going to continue to speak out until our policy moves in a much better direction. I'm going to keep hoping the Biden administration takes the opportunity to make good on its promise to pursue a foreign policy guided by human rights, and I hope they don't forsake that opportunity when it comes to Haiti.
Well, moving from Haiti to our border, Congressman, I want to ask you about those pictures of Border Patrol agents on horseback we've seen using reins to round up migrants. You've called those images and the deportations themselves racist. Can you elaborate?
Well, first of all, Tanya, the images we're seeing from the border are just devastating. And to call it unacceptable would be an understatement. I mean, these individuals are seeking asylum as their home country grapples with a triple crisis of governance, of COVID, and of the aftermath of last month's earthquake that resulted in more than 2,000 deaths. The country is saying they can't take them, they can't house them, feed them, provide them clothing, provide them COVID care, vaccinations. So it's just unacceptable. And these inhumane tactics need to stop. In terms of the broader issue you raise, when there are 8,000 to 12,000 Black people under a bridge at the border, and our government responds with men on horseback charging people and even whipping them, as you said, with their reins, there's only one word for that. It's racist. I challenge you or anyone to find a similar picture with migrants who aren't Black people. I mean, let's just be clear about this. It's completely unacceptable. And I really need to point out that Haiti, the only country ever to have a successful slave revolt on a national level and establish the first Black republic, and that has been mistreated by the international community since its founding in 1804, our policy towards Haitian migrants has been different than other migrants. So going back for 40 years, think of the wet foot, dry foot policy with Cuba, where if Cubans got onto land in the U.S., they could stay, whereas Haitians fleeing oppression never had that chance. And they're just another Caribbean island right next door to Cuba. So I think there's been a history of mistreatment of Haitian migrants. And, this is an egregious example of it.
So, Congressman, it's clear that the fact that the U.S. is flying many migrants back to their homeland is not something that sits well with you. What do you think should have been done or should be done in this situation? Because thousands of migrants, I believe are still under that international bridge. What do you think the U.S. should be doing about the situation there?
Well, first of all, we've got to address root causes, and that's what, a whole conversation to have, right, about a new policy on Haiti. Secondly, under international law and U.S. law, when an individual approaches the U.S. border, or these people are within the United States, they have a right to seek asylum, person by person. They need to be treated as individual human beings and have their asylum cases heard, just like everybody else. And I think it makes sense to try to work with the Border Patrol and Mexico to secure the border there, but we need to treat migrants who approach our borders with dignity and with justice. And that's what we need to do. You know, when my great-grandmother came to this country with $5 in her pocket, not speaking a word of English in the 1890s, she didn't have any papers. She didn't have any, I mean, she wasn't on anybody's list as, you know, some big job creator. But she became the grandmother to the two longest serving siblings in the history of the United States Congress, Sandy and Carl Levin. That's America.
Well, I am sure
Tanya.
your grandmother, absolutely,
My
I'm sure your grandmother is incredibly, your great-grandmother is incredibly
She's long
proud.
gone, Tanya. She's long gone.
I figured as much, but still, I'm sure she's proud up in heaven.
Yes, wherever she
so
is.
Congressman,
Yes.
I do want to pivot now to the stopgap measure passed by the House that prevents the government from shutting down and suspends the debt ceiling, and which now heads to the Senate, where its future is uncertain. Are you concerned the U.S. could actually default, and what the implications of that might be?
Tanya, this is insane, right? There's no actual reason to put the full faith and credit of the United States at risk. We're the richest country in the world. We're doing fine. This is pure political gamesmanship. And I want to remind your viewers that the last time the Republicans did this, our credit rating actually took a hit for the first time ever or in so many years. So we need to raise the debt ceiling. It's not even, we shouldn't even have this structure where we have to do this repeatedly. It's not actually necessary. Most countries don't operate like this. So a long-term fix is a question for another day. In the meantime, yes, I'm worried. I mean, if so many members of the Republican Party are willing to come close to overthrowing our democracy, a majority of my colleagues voted to nullify the votes of millions of their fellow Americans and not have a peaceful transfer of power. There's nothing more fundamental to our democracy than that. And there's nothing more fundamental to our economy and our role in the world than upholding the full faith and credit of the United States. So we will get this done. We will find a way to get it done. But the games being played by Mitch McConnell and others are shameful and completely unacceptable. And we'll just, you know, have to find a way to get it done one way or the other.
Congressman Andy Levin, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Tanya.